You keep wondering why success still feels out of reach, even though you've tried, even though you want it so badly. But let me ask you something real. Are you truly consistent, or just occasionally committed? Because without discipline, you're only chasing moments, not building momentum. This video isn't about hype. It's about the truth you might be avoiding. If you've ever felt stuck, frustrated, or tired of starting over, you're not alone. We're going to get real about why motivation fades, why emotions can't be trusted to lead, and why self-discipline is the missing link between where you are and where you want to be. You'll hear the kind of insight that hits hard, not just in your mind, but in your gut. If you're tired of the excuses, if you're ready to take control and actually win, don't skip a second. What you hear today could be the shift you've been waiting for. Let's begin. Number 1, build daily habits that force you to follow through. You say you want to win, but nothing changes until you do something different today, right now, not tomorrow. If you're not following through, if you keep quitting halfway, if your life feels stuck on repeat, it's not because the world's unfair. It's not your boss. It's not your parents. It's not your luck. It's because you haven't built the discipline to follow through. And discipline, my friend, is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build like a muscle, by doing things you don't want to do until your results change. People ask why they feel lost, or why they keep starting and stopping. They try new routines, new books, new goals, but none of it sticks. And I'll tell you why. Because they haven't built daily habits that force them to follow through. Not habits they feel like doing. Not habits that feel good. Habits that demand action, no matter how they feel. Until you've got that kind of structure, you'll keep falling short. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because your system is missing the one thing that guarantees results: follow through. Following through isn't about being in the mood. It's about being committed. You don't get to have success and still act like the old version of you. You can't keep negotiating with yourself every morning about whether or not you're going to do what you promised. That's how average people live. They live on maybe. They wait for a better day. Winners build systems that eliminate the option to back out. They don't rely on willpower. They don't hope for energy. They put a structure in place that holds them to their word, even on the worst days. You want change? Then build habits that leave no room for escape. Set the alarm and get up the second it rings. No snooze, no scrolling, just up. Plan your day the night before, so when you wake up, you're not wasting mental energy deciding what to do. You already know. It's written down. The first thing you do in the morning should move you forward, not entertain you, not distract you, but grow you. And if you do that enough days in a row, something shifts. You stop being that person who just talks and start being the person who does. Discipline isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet and lonely sometimes. It's brushing your teeth at the same time every night. It's writing down your goals even when no one's looking. It's saying no to something small now, so you can say yes to something big later. And most people won't do it. Most people want the dream without the habits. They want the trophy without the training. They want the life without paying the price. And that's exactly why they stay where we are. You cannot win without discipline. And you cannot have discipline without daily habits that back up your work. You say you want to be healthier, then build a habit of drinking water before anything else each morning. You say you want to write a book, then set a timer and write 200 words every single day without fail. You say you want more confidence, then build the habit of keeping your word to yourself. Because every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. And trust in yourself is the root of confidence. It's not in how you look. It's in how you act when no one's watching. Following through rewires your brain. It changes how you see yourself. At first, it's hard. Your brain fights it. Your emotions push back. You feel tired. You feel bored. You feel like it's not working. But it is. Because every time you do the hard thing instead of the easy thing, you grow a little stronger. And over time, that becomes who you are. You're no longer the person who gives up. You're the person who finishes. You're the person who shows up every single day, no matter what. And that's when success starts to find you, not before. The truth is, You already know what you should be doing. You know the actions. You know the only thing standing in the way is that you're not doing them consistently. That's it. And I'm not saying that to beat you up. I'm saying that because it means the power is in your hands. You're not waiting on a miracle. You don't need a lucky break. You just need a system that makes follow-through automatic. And you can build that. You don't need motivation. You need structure. You need routines that pull you forward even when you feel like quitting. Most people underestimate the power of small daily action. They think if it's not dramatic, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, success is built in silence, in the small boring things you do when no one claps for you. That's what builds the character that can handle success when it finally comes. And if you're not doing those small things now, don't expect to have the big things later. That's not me being harsh. That's just life being honest. So start small, but start strong. Choose one habit today that forces you to show up. Not 10, 1. Maybe it's waking up at the same time every day. Maybe it's working out for 15 minutes. Maybe it's turning off your phone an hour before bed. Whatever it is, commit to it like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. Your future depends on what you do today, not what you say you'll do someday. And don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to be perfect. That day never comes. The person who wins isn't the one who had it all figured out. It's the one who kept going when it was hard. It's the one who kept the promises they made to themselves when no one else cared. That's how you win. That's how you earn your future. Not through dreams, through discipline. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're done pretending, if you're ready to stop losing to your excuses, then start building daily habits that force you to follow through. Put your goals into your calendar. Track your habits. Set alarms. Remove distraction. Build a system so tight it becomes harder to fail than it is to succeed. That's the secret no one wants to talk about. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters every single day. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. You can't fake it. You can't skip it. You either build it or you stay behind. But the good news is the moment you decide to stop breaking promises to yourself, you start building a life you can be proud of. And once you get a taste of that, you won't go back. Because success feels better than comfort ever could. So, go build it today, not tomorrow. Today. Number 2, wake up early and take full control today. If you keep waking up late, you're already giving your power away before the day even starts. You're starting behind. You're letting the world move without you. And when that becomes your pattern, so does falling short. So does feeling like you're always catching up, always overwhelmed, always reactive instead of in control. But the moment you decide to wake up early, before the noise, before the pressure, before the distractions, you take back control. You stop letting the day own you and you begin to own the day. Success doesn't show up for the person who sleeps through their potential. It shows up for the one who chooses discipline over comfort. Because let's be honest, staying in bed feels good for a moment, but it robs you of something much more valuable, momentum. And momentum is everything. Once you build it, your energy rises, your clarity sharpens, your confidence builds, and that starts with one decision, one simple act that sets the tone. Getting up early and stepping into your day with purpose. It's not just about waking up early, it's about who you become by doing it. You become someone who acts with intention, someone who doesn't wait to feel motivated to get moving, someone who takes charge of their hours instead of letting those hours disappear without meaning. And when you do that consistently, it changes your identity. You stop being the person who needs to be pushed, and you start becoming the person who leads themselves. That is power. That is freedom. When the world is quiet, when your phone isn't buzzing, when the streets are still dark, that's when your mind is at its most open. That's when you get to build something real, not for show, not for likes, but for you. That first hour when you wake up can shape your entire day. If you spend it reacting to nonsense, your whole day follows that pattern. But if you spend it building discipline, focus, and clarity, everything that follows has a foundation. Waking up early isn't about being part of a trend. It's about putting yourself first. It's about doing the hard thing before the world demands your attention. It's about protecting your time, your goals, your peace. Because once the day gets moving, you know how it goes. Meetings, messages, problems, distractions. The time you thought you'd have later disappeared. And then you tell yourself, you'll try again tomorrow. But what if today was the day that could have changed everything? What if that hour you gave away this morning was the hour your breakthrough was waiting for? People talk about motivation. They chase it. But what they don't understand is that motivation shows up after action, not before. You want to feel like you're in control, then get up while others are still asleep. Not because it's easy, not because you're special, but because it's necessary. You think discipline is about grinding yourself into the ground. It's not. It's about freedom. And the first act of freedom is choosing how your day begins. You can't control what the world throws at you, but you can control how prepared you are to handle it. You can control how much time you've given yourself to focus before the chaos. And then you build that habit, waking up with purpose, starting strong. You stop surviving your days and start designing them. The person who takes action at 5 a.m. is not the same person who hits snooze until 9. The actions are different. The mindset is different. The results are night and day. You know what it feels like to keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. You know the guilt of waking up late and realizing half the morning is already gone. And you know what it does to your confidence. It makes you doubt your word. It chips away at your belief in yourself. But that changes when you take back the first hour. You start keeping promises to yourself. You stop feeling like life is something happening to you and start realizing it's something you can shape. You don't need to overhaul your whole life to get this right. You just need to commit to a time. Set your alarm. Put your phone across the room. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier, if you have. And when that alarm goes off, don't think. Don't negotiate. Just move. Because the decision has already been made. That's how discipline works. You make the decision before the moment of weakness comes. You prepare your environment, your plan, your routine. So when the time comes, you act without delay. And here's the part most people miss. It's not about being perfect. You'll miss days. You'll feel tired. You'll be tempted to quit. But what matters more than perfection is persistence. What matters is getting back up every time you fall. Waking up early isn't about being superhuman. It's about refusing to let your old habits define your future. It's about proving to yourself that you can lead your life with strength, not react to it with regret. You want to get ahead? Then stop waiting for the world to give you permission. Start before they do. Start when it's quiet, when there's no applause, no audience, just you, your thoughts, your commitment. That's when the real work happens. That's when you separate yourself from the crowd. Not in public, in private. Not when it's convenient, when it's hard. Because if you only work when you feel like it, you'll always be chasing success instead of building it. Waking up early is a small thing, but it creates a ripple. You get more done. You make clearer decisions. You feel proud of yourself before most people are even out of bed. That pride builds belief. That belief drives action. That action compounds into momentum. And that momentum becomes your new standard. This isn't about chasing a fantasy life. It's about creating a real one. One you can feel. One you can measure. One that grows. Because you chose to take control at the start of every single day. So don't wait. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't tell yourself it's too late. It's not. No matter where you're starting, you can change the way your day begins. And if you can do that, you can change where your life goes. Start tomorrow, before the sun is up. Move your body. Clear your mind. Set your goals. Decide what kind of person you want to be. And then act like it. Not someday, today. Every great life is built on this simple truth. If you want to win the day, you have to take the morning. Not borrow it. Not wish for it. Take it. Because no one is coming to do it for you. It's yours now. Go own it. Number 3. Cut every excuse and do what must be done. You will never build the life you want if you keep protecting your excuses. If it needs to be done, then it needs to be done. No matter how tired you are. No matter how afraid you feel. No matter how difficult it looks. The truth is, you already know what needs to happen. You're just waiting for it to feel easier. But here's something most people never accept. The success you want doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. Excuses are lies we sell ourselves to stay the same. They sound smart. They feel safe. But they cost you progress. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you trade power for comfort. And the more you make that trade, the weaker your word becomes. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing your own promises. And when that happens, discipline dies. Confidence disappears. And so does your future. Look at your life. Look at where you're stuck. Where are you blaming someone else? Where are you hiding behind, I don't have time? Or I'm just not ready? Be honest. Not polite. Not hopeful. Honest. Because the longer you protect your excuses, the longer you delay your breakthrough. You don't need a new plan. You don't need better luck. You need a decision right now to cut every excuse and act. People ask, how do I stay motivated? Here's the answer. You don't. You get tired. You get distracted. You get discouraged. And that's normal. But discipline doesn't care about motivation. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't want to. That's how you rise. That's how you lead. That's how you earn results. If you only move when you feel like it, you'll live in circles. You'll keep revisiting the same problems and calling it growth. You have two choices every day: to do what you said you would, or to come up with another excuse. The first one builds your future. The second one keeps you locked in your past. You say you want change, then do it. Not next week. Not when things slow down. Now. Because the pain of discipline lasts minutes, but the pain of regret can follow you for years. And that's the trade. You can suffer now for a better life, or suffer later for the life you never lived. Excuses are clever. They sound reasonable. I'm too busy. I don't know how. I'm just not in the right headspace. But dig deeper and you'll find the truth. It's fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of discomfort. That's what hides under every excuse. So don't fix the surface, face the fear. Ask yourself, what's the worst that happens if I try and fail? Then compare it to the cost of doing nothing. When you stack those two side by side, the answer becomes clear. Inaction is more expensive than failure. Start acting like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your happiness, your confidence, your relationships, your legacy, all of it grows or shrinks based on how often you follow through. You think small excuses only cause small damage? They don't. They become patterns. And those patterns shape your entire character. So the excuse you make today isn't just about today. It becomes who you are tomorrow. And if you don't interrupt that cycle, you'll wake up one day and not recognize yourself. The hardest part is starting. The hardest step is the first one. But here's what most people miss. It doesn't get easier before you move. It gets easier because you move. Action beats fear. Action clarifies your mind. Action pulls you out of doubt and into momentum. So don't wait for your excuses to disappear. Cut them. Cut them now. They will not go away by thinking about them. They only leave when you act in spite of them. There are no perfect conditions, no ideal timing. The perfect moment is a myth. If it needs to happen, then the best time is the time you're willing to begin. Life rewards those who show up, not those who wait for things to feel right. So show up broken if you have to. Show up scared. Show up unsure. But show up. That one act shifts everything. It sends a signal to your brain. I'm not running anymore. I'm not making excuses. I'm here and I'm doing the work. You don't rise by avoiding pain. You rise by choosing purpose over comfort. You rise by refusing to be owned by your feeling. The moment you do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it, you start to build strength that no one can take from you. That's how you grow. That's how you gain respect. That's how you become someone who finishes what they start. So the next time you hear yourself say, I can't, stop. Ask is that really true? Or is it just comfortable? And then move. Even if it's one step, even if it's messy, even if it's small, do the thing you're avoiding. Because excuses lose their power the moment you do what they're trying to talk you out of. No more waiting, no more delays, no more defending the habits that have held you back. It's time to rise. It's time to act. It's time to step into the kind of life you say you want. No one is going to drag you there. No one is going to fix your patterns for you. This is your job, your responsibility, your power, and the moment you choose it, your future changes. You were not made to live small. You were not made to stay stuck. You were made to lead, to move, to build. And that starts with the decision to act without excuse. So make that decision now. Draw the line. No more stories. No more someday. No more after I feel better. You know what you need to do. And the only question that matters is, will you do it? If you want results, stop protecting your excuses. Stop trying to make yourself feel good in the moment. And start doing what builds pride over time. That's how discipline is born. That's how purpose is fed. That's how the life you want stops being a dream and starts becoming real. And it's waiting for you, right on the other side of action. Now go do what must be done. Number 4, hold yourself accountable when no one else will. If you want to live a powerful life, you have to stop waiting for someone to hold you accountable and start doing it yourself. No one is coming to save you. No one's going to knock on your door to make sure you stayed focused today. And no one is going to chase you down to check whether you did what you said you would. That's your job. That's your test. That's where your growth lives. And that's exactly why so many people never get where they want to go. They're still hoping for someone to keep them in line instead of learning how to do it for themselves. There's something that happens when you look in the mirror and say, I'm responsible. Not just for what's going right, but for what's not. Not just when people are watching, but when no one is. Because that's the part that defines your life. The part no one else sees. What do you do when no one's clapping? What choices are you making in silence? What promises are you keeping when no one is around to notice? That's the kind of accountability that builds character. That's what separates the average from the excellent. That's what creates trust within yourself. Because you can't lead others if you can't lead you. You can't expect respect from the world if you constantly betray your own word. And every time you say one thing and do another, you chip away at your own confidence. Slowly, quietly, but deeply. You see, discipline without accountability is weak. It fades fast. You might show up strong for a week, maybe a month, but without self-accountability, it fades the moment life gets hard. You'll skip the gym. You'll quit the book halfway through. You'll stop taking care of your body and your goals. Not because you're incapable, but because you never trained yourself to follow through when the world wasn't watching. That's where real strength is built, in private. Not in the applause, not in the approval, but in the silence. When it's just you, your decisions, and the life you claim you want. The reality is simple. Your results will never rise higher than your ability to hold yourself to a standard, even when nobody else is checking it. If you can't keep promises to yourself, you'll never be proud of who you are. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who earn your respect without even asking for it. They're not just talented. They're consistent. They do what needs to be done without needing a reward. They act on discipline, not drama. They're the kind of people who get up early, stay focused, and follow through. Not because someone told them to, but because they told themselves they would. That's who you need to become if you want to stop struggling and start winning. The world is full of distractions. Comfort is easy to find. Entertainment is everywhere. And if you don't hold yourself to something higher, you'll get pulled into everything that keeps you average. You'll scroll too long. You'll start tomorrow. You'll lower your goals just to feel okay with not showing up today. And before you know it, you've spent years making excuses for a life you could have changed if you just held yourself accountable. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. If you really wanted it, you'd act like it. You'd stop negotiating with your laziness. You'd stop letting fear speak louder than your commitment. You'd stop waiting for the right moment. Because the person who's accountable doesn't need a perfect moment. They need a reason. And if your reason is strong enough, you won't just start. You'll keep going. Through the boredom, through the hard days, through the times when it feels like no one cares. But you'll care because you're the one who promised yourself this future. You're the one who set the vision. You're the one who decided this life was worth building. And now it's your job to protect that decision every single day, no matter how you feel. That's what accountability really is. It's showing up anyway. Not because someone told you to, not because there's a prize waiting, but because you refuse to let yourself down. The minute you start holding yourself to the same standard you expect from others, your life starts to shift. You stop blaming. You stop hiding. You stop depending on others to keep you moving. And you begin to trust your own worth. That trust creates confidence. That confidence creates action. And that action creates change. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. If you said you'd do it, do it. If you set a goal, fight for it. If you made a commitment, follow through. Even if no one ever sees, even if no one claps for it, because you see it, then you're the one who has to live with the result. You're the one who has to wake up in your own life. And that life will either be a reflection of your excuses or a reward for your accountability. Start small if you have to. Pick one promise and keep it today. Maybe it's waking up on time. Maybe it's writing the page. Maybe it's saying no to the distraction. Whatever it is, don't push it off. Don't water it down. Don't make another excuse. Own it. Do it. Finish it. That one act will start to shift your identity. This accountability isn't just about results. It's about becoming someone who honors their own word. Nobody can want this more than you. Nobody can do the work for you. Nobody can give you the discipline you haven't chosen to build. But if you take responsibility for your own growth, if you make the decision right now to hold yourself accountable, regardless of what others are doing, you'll start to live a life that's rare. A life built on strength. A life you actually respect. And that's the life that inspires others. Not because you told them to admire you, but because you lived in a way that demanded it. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. That's the reward of accountability. That's the gift of following through. And if you want it, it's yours. But only if you decide to be the one who holds the line when no one else is watching. Only if you rise without being asked to. Only if you become the kind of person who doesn't need pressure to keep going. Because you've already chosen to live up to your own standard. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of waiting, if you're tired of breaking your own promises, it's time. Not for another plan, not for another excuse, but for a new level of personal responsibility. It's time to own your day, own your word, own your future. And it all begins the moment you say, no more hiding. I hold myself accountable, and I start now. Number 5. Take full responsibility for every result you get. You are the reason your life looks the way it does right now. That truth might feel heavy, but it's the most freeing realization you'll ever accept. Every choice, every reaction, every moment you hesitated or pushed forward, it all led to this point. And the moment you take full responsibility for every result you get, your life begins to shift in a way most people never experience. Because here's the truth. If you created this, you can change. But not if you're blaming your parents, your job, your past, the economy, or anyone else for where you are. That blame might feel comforting, but it's also the chain that's keeping you from moving forward. You see, responsibility is power. It's not punishment. It's ownership. It's strength. It's clarity. And it's the one mindset that separates the people who keep moving from the ones who keep talking. If you want to grow, you have to stop waiting for things to get easier and start asking better questions. Not, why is this happening to me? But what am I doing to create this? What patterns have I allowed? What choices have I made? Because when you own your role in every outcome, you put yourself back in the driver's seat of your life. Now that doesn't mean everything's your fault. Life throws curveballs. People lie. Situations get messy. But responsibility doesn't mean you caused it. It means you're still responsible for how you respond to it. You don't get to control everything, but you do control how you show up. And how you show up every single day determines what happens next. If you're always blaming, you're always reacting. But if you're taking responsibility, you're creating. You're making decisions based on where you're going, not where you've been. Think about this. No one else is waking up in your shoes. No one else has to live with your choices. So why are you waiting for someone else to fix it? Why are you hoping for someone to tell you what to do? Why are you acting like a victim when you're capable of so much more? You were not built to just survive your circumstances. You were built to rise above them. But you can't do that until you say, this is mine, all of it, and I'm done pointing fingers. That shift is powerful because it changes the way you see your own life. Suddenly you stop needing approval. You stop asking for permission. You stop looking at your environment as a limit. You realize that the life you want isn't waiting for you. It's waiting on you. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but delivers. And when that happens, people start to notice. Not because you said anything, but because you live in a way that proves what's possible when someone takes control. But you have to be honest. You have to look at the areas where you've let yourself off the hook. Are you where you want to be physically, mentally, financially, in your relationships, in your work? If the answer is no, that's not because of someone else. That's a sign that there's more work to do. Not out there, but in here, inside, with the habits you've built, with the choices you're making, with the beliefs you're still carrying that are keeping you small. And if that sounds harsh, good. Growth isn't supposed to feel soft. It's supposed to wake you up. You have one life, one chance, one body, one mind, one opportunity to make something of it. And if you keep wasting it on excuses, you'll keep ending up in the same place year after, wondering why nothing changes. Nothing changes until you do, until you stop trying to shift the blame and start shifting your behavior. Responsibility is not a burden. It's the starting point of freedom. You want better results? Own the ones you're getting right now. Face them. Feel the discomfort, and then do something about it. Most people will never do this. They'll keep blaming their childhood, their job, their spouse, their boss, their lack of resources. But that mindset creates a loop. And you know what loops do? They repeat. The only way to break it is to break the cycle. Then the only way to break the cycle is to stand in front of the mirror and say, it's on me, and I'm done living small. Start there, today, with the smallest possible step. Maybe it's making a budget. Maybe it's cutting off distractions. Maybe it's admitting that you've been lazy. Whatever it is, face it with courage. Stop sugarcoating your story. You don't need to feel bad about where you are. You just need to stop pretending someone else got you here. And the moment you stop pretending, you start becoming someone you can respect again. You don't need anyone to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need the past to be different. You need to decide right now that you are capable of more. And that means taking full ownership of every result, not just the wins, the losses, the missed chances, the time you wasted. Own all of it, because only then can you rewrite the story. Responsibility changes your tone. You speak differently. You carry yourself with quiet confidence. You stop needing validation. You start leading yourself, and eventually others start following. Not because you told them to, but because they want to understand what shifted in you. That's what real power looks like. Quiet, internal, earned power. The kind that doesn't come from titles or applause. The kind that comes from doing the work. This is the moment where you choose. Stay the same and keep blaming, or rise up and own it. If you want a better body, you build it. If you want more money, you earn it. If you want peace, you protect it. If you want success, you create it. That's your job. That's your role. That's your responsibility. Nobody else's. You don't have to wait anymore. You don't need more time to think about it. You don't need to process one more emotion. You've had enough chances to turn things around. This is your wake-up call. This is the moment where the excuses stop. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now own your time, own your energy, own your actions, and most of all, own your outcomes. Because the most powerful thing you'll ever do is stop hiding from the truth and start building from it. Not perfectly, not instantly, but relentlessly, with intention, with purpose, with responsibility. Because once you take full responsibility for every result you get, your life is no longer in someone else's hands. It's finally in yours. Number 6, train your focus by doing hard things on purpose. You are distracted because you have trained your mind to avoid discomfort. You're not unfocused because you're weak. You're unfocused because you keep choosing easy. Every time you dodge a challenge, every time you walk away from something hard, you're telling your mind that comfort matters more than growth. And the more you choose comfort, the harder it becomes to stay locked in on anything that demands your full presence. But if you want clarity, if you want grit, if you want mental strength, you've got to earn it. Not by talking about it, not by thinking about it, but by doing hard things on purpose. Discipline doesn't start with motivation. It starts with a decision to stop looking for shortcuts and start facing what you usually avoid. The cold shower, the early morning, the extra hour of practice, the uncomfortable conversation. These aren't punishments. They're tools. They forge your mind. They sharpen your attention. They remind you what it feels like to push when everything in you wants to stop. And when you stack enough of those moments, you begin to change, not just in what you can do, but in how you see yourself. Most people wait until life forces them to be strong. They wait for a breakdown. They wait until they're broke, until they're in pain, until they're desperate. That's the wrong time to build resilience. You don't wait until the storm hits to learn how to swim. You train before. You practice now. You choose hard on purpose. Not because you like suffering, but because you want to be the kind of person who doesn't crumble when life gets heavy. The moment you start doing hard things with intention, you flip a switch in your brain. You stop seeing effort as the enemy. You stop running from resistance. You begin to challenge. Not because it's fun, but because you know it leads to growth. That's how mental focus is trained. Not by sitting in silence hoping you'll find clarity, but by showing up to the hard parts of life and doing the work no one else wants to do. That kind of focus can't be bought. It can't be faked. It's built in the trenches of effort. You can't scroll your way into discipline. You can't download it. You have to build it, rep by rep, like a muscle. And the way you build it is by walking straight into what feels difficult. You clean your space when you don't feel like it. You study when your mind wants to wander. You keep your word when no one's watching. You finish what you start even when the initial excitement is gone. That's how you earn the right to trust yourself. That's how you build mental armor. The world is loud. It's chaotic. It's full of noise designed to steal your attention. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life reacting to distractions. You'll be busy, but you won't be fulfilled. You'll be active, but you won't be aligned. Focus is the only way out, and focus is built in friction. The more resistance you face and push through, the stronger your ability to concentrate becomes. Think about how good it feels when you do something hard and finish it. Not halfway, not sloppy, but fully. That's pride, not arrogance, real pride. The kind that comes from self-respect, the kind that comes from knowing you didn't quit. And the more you taste that, the less tempting it becomes to waste time. That's how you take back control, one hard thing at a time. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop choosing easy. You need to stop negotiating with your comfort. Because every time you pick easy over effort, you're choosing to stay stuck. And you don't rise by staying stuck. You rise by stretching yourself. You rise by stepping into the parts of life that scare you and proving to yourself that you can take it. That doesn't mean you do everything at once. It means you start small and stay consistent. You pick one hard thing and you commit. You follow through even when it's not convenient. You build proof, and over time your brain begins to believe you. You're no longer the person who quits when it gets hard. You become the person who finishes, who shows up, who leads by example. There's no secret to success. There's no magic formula. There's just you and the choices you make every day. You can choose to keep numbing yourself with comfort, or you can choose to start stirring up to your life with focus and fire. You already know what you've been avoiding. That task, that challenge, that commitment. Whatever it is, that's where your growth lives. That's where your next level is hiding. And yes, it's signed to be uncomfortable. But that discomfort is a signal. Not to run, but to lean in. It means you're in the right place. It means you're stretching your limit. And on the other side of that stretch is the version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't stall, that doesn't get thrown off by noise or setbacks. That version is built through fire. So start today. Do one thing that scares you, one thing that's difficult, one thing you've been avoiding. And when you finish, don't stop. Do it again tomorrow. Stack those wins, not for the world, but for you. Because you're not here to be average. You're here to become someone you're proud of. And that kind of pride comes from effort, from growth, from the decision to train your focus by doing the hard things on purpose, especially when no one is clapping and nothing is guaranteed. If you want to stand out, do what most people avoid. Push your limits. Face your weakness. Build your mental muscle. And don't wait for life to force you. Decide now that you're not going to waste your potential, waiting for things to feel easy. Nothing about greatness is convenient, but it's always worth it. Because the person who chooses discomfort on purpose becomes the person who can handle anything. And that's who you're becoming. Keep showing up. Keep doing the hard thing. Keep proving to yourself that your focus is not a gift. It's a skill you earn, and you're earning it right now. Number 7, stop chasing motivation and commit to real action. You're not stuck because you're lazy. You're stuck because you're waiting for motivation to show up and pull you out of your rut. That's the trap. That's the lie. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days it's there. Most days it's not. And if you only act when you feel like it, you're handing over your future to your feelings. You can't build a strong life on a weak foundation. You need something solid. You need commitment. Because real progress starts when you stop chasing a feeling and start making real moves. Think about how many times you've said, I'll start when I feel ready. How many plans have you made in your head that never saw the light of day because you were waiting for that magical burst of motivation? You told yourself tomorrow would be different. That Monday you'd wake up fired up. That next month, things would change. And every time, you found a reason to delay. Not because you can't do it, but because you're still looking for the perfect moment. Here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. There's only right now. And what you choose to do with it. Commitment isn't loud. It doesn't feel like motivation. It's quiet. It's steady. It's not exciting. But it works. It doesn't need a spark to move. It moves because it said it would. And that kind of force, once you build it, can carry you through any storm. When you commit, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop entertaining excuses. You stop asking how you feel about it. You just do what needs to be done. That's the difference between people who change their lives and people who stay stuck in cycles. One group takes action. The other keeps waiting to feel right. We live in a world that sells motivation like a drug. You scroll through endless videos, read endless quotes, looking for that high, and maybe for a moment it works. You feel a little buzz. You get hyped. You start planning, but then life shows up. You get tired, you get distracted, and that feeling fades. So you go back, looking for the next hit. That's not progress. That's a loop, and it keeps you trapped. If you want to break out, you need to stop feeding your mind dopamine and start feeding it discipline. You don't need another motivational speech. You need to decide. Decide that this time, you're not waiting for your emotions to cooperate. Decide that you're going to follow through, whether you feel excited or exhausted. Decide that your future matters more than your mood. That's the kind of decision that changes everything. When you commit to real action, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing work as punishment and start seeing it as power. Every time you show up, especially when it's hard, you gain something. You get a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more grounding. You start to trust yourself again. You start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really are capable of more. Not because someone told you, but because you proved it to yourself. That proof doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing, from getting up early and starting the project, from sticking to your word when no one else is checking, from moving your body when you'd rather rest, from writing the plan, hitting the gym, fixing your mistakes, showing up again and again, especially when it's not fun. These aren't grand moments. They're small, but they stack. And when they do, they give you a kind of power that motivation never could. Your future doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. So if you want to feel better, stop sitting in your feelings. Stand up, move, create momentum. Action changes emotion. You don't wait until you feel confident to take action. You take action until confidence shows up. You don't wait to feel brave. You act. Even when you're scared. That's how it works. That's how real strength is built. There will be days when you don't feel like doing any of it. You'll be tired. You'll be discouraged. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. That's when you double down. That's when you remind yourself that your goals aren't hobbies. They're priorities. And priorities don't get pushed aside just because it's inconvenient. You get up, you do the work, and you do it with everything you've got. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. And listen, this doesn't mean you become a machine. You're human. You'll slip. You'll fall. But what matters most is that you don't use failure as a reason to stop. Use it as a reason to recommit. You missed a day? Get back the next day. You made a mistake? Learn from it. You lost momentum? Rebuild it. That's what commitment looks like. Not perfection, persistent. You don't have to do it all today, but you have to do something. One step, one task, one honest effort. And then you do it again tomorrow. That's how habits form. That's how lives transform. Not in big flashy moments, but in quiet, consistent action. So stop chasing a feeling that isn't built to last. Start building a life that doesn't need permission from your mood. You already know what needs to be done. You already know what you've been putting off. Do it now. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And that promise to yourself is more powerful than any hype video or motivational quote. The most successful people in the world are not the most inspired. They are the most committed. They have trained themselves to act, regardless of how they feel. And that's a skill anyone can build, including you. But you've got to start. Not next week, not after you feel better. Now, right here, right in the middle of your doubts, your stress, your distractions. Because real change doesn't wait. It begins the moment you stop chasing motivation and start choosing movement. It begins when you trade hype for habits. And if you keep showing up, if you keep pushing forward, if you keep taking action, no matter what, you won't need motivation to keep going. You'll be driven by something deeper, something real, something that lasts. So ask yourself one question. What's one thing I can do today that I've been avoiding? Do it. No waiting, no whining, just action. Watch what happens when you stop chasing and start creating. The difference will be undeniable. And once you taste that power, you'll never go back. Number 8, make a clear plan and stick with it. Idle. You don't need more time. You need a plan you actually follow. That's it. That's the breakthrough. Most people aren't failing because they lack talent or drive. They're failing because they wake up every day without a direction. They're spinning in circles, reacting to life instead of designing it. And you can't build greatness in chaos. You build it with structure, with clarity, with daily decisions that serve your bigger vision. If your future truly matters to you, then it's time to stop guessing and start planning with precision. The truth is, clarity is power. When you wake up knowing exactly what needs to be done, you're no longer negotiating with your distraction. You're not wondering where to start, what matters most, or how to make progress. You've already decided. You've mapped the path. Now your job is execution. But it starts with getting brutally honest. What do you want? Exactly. Not a vague idea. Not a hopeful wish. What's the specific life you're building? What do your days look like when you get there? What habits carry you to that reality? That level of clarity is rare, and that's why it's powerful. You can't aim at everything. You need to aim at something. Scattered mind produces scattered results, but a focused mind that operates from a written, intentional plan, that's unstoppable. That kind of focus builds momentum. It creates structure in your day and discipline in your life. And the more you follow your plan, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. Each task completed is a vote for the person you said you'd become. And every day you stick to it, you deepen the roots of that identity. Think about it. How many days have you wasted because you didn't know what to do first? You procrastinated, scrolled, overthought, and by the time the day ended, you felt drained and disappointed. That's what life feels like without a plan. You're busy, but not productive. Active, but not aligned. And that's a dangerous way to live, because it tricks you into thinking you're doing enough. But deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know your days could have more meaning, more energy, more results. And that feeling of potential going on, that eats at people. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a committed one. You don't need 100 steps. You need 3 that you do every single day. Simplicity scales. Complexity paralyzes. Make your plan so clear that you can't misunderstand it. Break it down into daily actions that are measurable, repeatable, and tied to your goals. Write it down. Post it where you see it. Build your schedule around it. And then treat it like a contract with your future self. Because that's what it is. But here's the catch. A plan only works if you work it. And that's where most people fall. They create the perfect system, but they don't show up. They let their moods rewrite their priorities. They tell themselves they'll start fresh tomorrow. But tomorrow is a trap if you're not disciplined today. The power of a plan is in your follow-through. The difference between average and extraordinary is not motivation. It's consistency. And consistency isn't a talent. It's a decision. A hard one, yes, but a decision you have to make every single day. You decide to follow your plan even when it's inconvenient. You decide to do what's written down, not what feels easier. You decide that the discomfort of discipline is better than the regret of drifting. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. It starts to feel natural. And one day, the results start showing up. And that's when everything shifts. You begin to feel proud again. You wake up with energy instead of anxiety. You see progress instead of problem, and your confidence starts growing. Not because of some external validation, but because you kept a promise to yourself. That's the kind of confidence no one can give you, and no one can take from you. You earned it. One day at a time, one task at a time, one commitment at a time. And yes, there will be days when it gets hard. Days when life throws chaos your way. But a strong plan gives you something to return to. It anchors you. It reminds you what matters. Without it, you drift. With it, you lead. You lead your thoughts. You lead your energy. You lead your progress. And if you do this long enough, you become someone who doesn't just dream of change. You cause it. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we'll get serious later. After the weekend. After the trip. After we feel more ready. But waiting is expensive. Every day without a plan is a day where your future is left to chance. And the people who win in life, they don't leave their future to chance. They plan it. Then they show up for that plan. Day after day. No matter what. That's how real results are built. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of feeling lost, tired of not seeing progress, it's time to stop winging it. Get clear. Get specific. Make a plan that reflects your values, your goals, and your reality. And then stick with it. Like your life depends on it. Because it does. Don't just hope to get better. Build better. Don't just wish for growth. Plan for it. Live for it. Show up for it. Start small. Stay consistent. Track your progress. Adjust when necessary. But never stop. Never quit. Never break the agreement you made with the highest version of yourself. And if you're waiting for the perfect time to begin, understand this, that time is right now. Not next week. Not next year. Now. Clarity is waiting to be claimed. Discipline is waiting to be practiced. Your future is waiting to be built. One intentional day at a time. So start today. Build a plan. So clear it pulls you forward. Then work that plan with everything you've got. Because your dream doesn't need more hope. It needs structure. It needs action. And it needs you to take control. One day at a time until everything changes. Number 9. Say no to distractions. And protect your time. If you don't defend your time, the world will steal it and leave you with nothing but regret. Every minute you waste isn't coming back. Every distraction you welcome pulls you one step further from the life you claim you want. Time is your most limited resource. Once it's gone, it's gone. So if you're serious about becoming the person you were meant to be, then you have to become ruthless with how you use your attention. This is not a game. This is your life. Look around you. How many people are constantly plugged in, but disconnected from their goals? They scroll. They react. They consume, but they don't create. They say they're busy, but they're not productive. They're occupied, but they're not progressing. And it's not because they lack talent or desire. It's because they haven't learned to say no. No to the endless distractions. No to the constant noise. No to the requests that steal their energy and give nothing in return. If you don't learn to say no, you will live a life full of half-finished ideas, missed opportunities, and dreams that stay stuck in your mind. And it starts with awareness. Ask yourself, where is your time really going? How much of it is spent on what matters? How much of it is wasted on things that feel urgent, but have no lasting value? Every time you pick up your phone without thinking. Every time you check a notification out of habit. Every time you let someone else's priorities become your emergency. You're losing more than time. You're losing focus. You're losing control. You can't build anything meaningful in a scattered state. You need presence. You need depth. And you only get that by protecting your time like your future depends on it. Because it does. If you want to rise above average, you have to train your mind to lock in when others are drifting. You have to create boundaries that protect your peace and your purpose. That might mean waking up earlier to carve out time for your goals. It might mean saying no to people who drain you. It might mean turning off distractions even when it feels uncomfortable. But if you want to lead your life, you have to stop living in reaction. You owe it to yourself to eliminate what's not aligned with your vision. And that takes courage. Because it means letting go of comfort. It means standing firm when others expect you to be available at all times. It means becoming intentional instead of reactive. But here's the truth. Nothing great is built in distraction. Focus is a superpower. The ability to direct your energy where it matters most is the key to mastery. And the people who change the world, they guard their time like it's sacred. Because it is. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters deeply and consistently. That's the difference between motion and momentum, between busyness and breakthroughs, between noise and result. And every day you're making a choice to be pulled by distractions or to be led by your purpose, to say yes to everything and dilute your impact, or to say no strategically and multiply your power. Think about the times in your life when you were most proud of yourself. Were you distracted or were you focused? Were you responding to everyone's demands? Or were you locked in, building, growing, rising? You already know what it feels like to give your best. The question is, how often are you living that way? How often are you making space for your future instead of reacting to the present? You don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer leaks. You need to cut the invisible time thieves that rob you of momentum. It could be people who bring drama instead of solution. It could be habits that feel good in the moment, but sabotage you long term. It could be the mental clutter of saying yes when you really want to say no. Whatever it is, identify it, remove it, replace it with habits that serve you. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters relentlessly. And the world won't applaud you for this. In fact, it will resist. It will push back when you set boundaries. It will tempt you with shortcuts and shiny distractions. But you're not here to blend in. You're here to build something extraordinary. And that means protecting your energy from anything that waters down your vision. This isn't just about productivity. It's about integrity. Are your actions aligned with the life you say you want? Or are you letting temporary impulses override your long-term potential? Start small. Block out time each day for what matters most. Silence your phone. Close the tabs. Communicate your boundaries. Train yourself to go deep instead of wide. Let your work speak for you. Let your discipline be the foundation you build. Over time, you'll notice something powerful. Your mind will get sharper. Your results will get bigger. Your confidence will grow. Not because you did everything, but because you did the right things. And that's where freedom comes from. Not from saying yes to everything, but from mastering the art of saying no. No to distraction. No to drama. No to anything that doesn't move the needle. Because when you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what drives you. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your mind. You reclaim your life. So right now, ask yourself, what do I need to stop doing? What is stealing my time that I've been tolerating? What distractions have I allowed to become normal? Get honest, get clear, then take action. One change at a time, one decision at a time. You are not a victim of your environment. You are the architect of your future. And your blueprint is built with what you focus on every single day. You don't need another app. You don't need more motivation. You need discipline. You need structure. You need to build an environment where your goals are protected from distraction. That's how you win. Not once, but repeatedly. That's how you rise. Not in bursts, but in steady, focused growth. This is how you move from dreaming to doing, from wishing to winning, from being scattered to becoming unstoppable. So make the choice today. Say no to what doesn't matter. Guard your time like it's gold, because it is. And when you do that, you'll find something incredible waiting on the other side. Peace, power, and the unstoppable momentum of a life that's finally aligned with your highest potential. Number 10, push yourself forward even when it feels awful. Some days, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your ability to keep moving when everything inside you screams to stop. It's easy to take action when you're motivated. It's effortless to grind when you're inspired. But the truth is, growth doesn't happen in those moments. Real progress happens when you move forward without the applause. When you show up without the excitement. When you dig deep without the comfort. That's where transformation lives. In the brutal, lonely, uncomfortable moments. When you don't feel like it, and you do it anyway. There's a voice in your head that shows up when you're tired, when you're defeated, when everything hurts, and it tells you to stop, to rest, to wait for a better day. But that voice isn't your truth. That voice is fear disguised as logic. It's your comfort zone in costume. And if you listen to it, you will spend your life waiting for perfect conditions that never arrive. You have to understand that pushing forward when it's hard is a skill. It's not about being fearless. It's about learning to act in the presence of resistance. And the more you practice that, the stronger you get. Not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally, spiritually, in every part of your life. Because every time you do something hard, something you didn't want to do but knew you needed to, you prove to yourself that you are more powerful than your excuses. Think back to a time you were struggling, when you didn't think you had anything left, but you showed up anyway. Remember that? That's not just resilience. That's evidence. That moment is proof that your strength doesn't live in comfort. It lives in challenge. And every time you push through what feels awful, you build another layer of grit, of discipline, of unstoppable drive. But don't mistake this for pretending everything is okay. This isn't about fake positivity. This is about owning the pain, facing the discomfort, and still choosing to move forward because your goals are non-negotiable. Because you know that no amount of short-term pain compares to the pain of staying stuck. You don't push yourself because it feels good. You push because you've made a decision that your dreams are worth it. Even when it's heavy, even when it's slow, even when it's painful. This is what separates the people who succeed from the ones who just wish. Winners aren't born with more talent. They just keep going when everyone else quits. They train themselves to act in discomfort. They do what needs to be done, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. You want to master your life? Then you must master your ability to take action. When your emotions are telling you to hide, to keep going, when your energy is low, your mood is dark, and the weight on your shoulders feels unbearable. And that's not glamour. No one celebrates the nights when you're crying in silence, still grinding. No one sees the internal battles you fight just to show up. But those battles, that's where champions are made. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to be in the mood. Don't wait for inspiration. Inspiration will find you once you've started. Motivation shows up after you act, not before. You have to move first. That's the hard truth. You can sit there and overthink for days. You can analyze, plan, make excuses, but none of it matters until you move forward. Motion is the cure. Action is the answer. And here's the most powerful part. The moment you push forward in spite of pain, you reclaim your power. You take control of your story. You stop being a victim of your circumstances. And you become the author of your future. That's what this is really about. Ownership. Taking full control of your response, your effort, your outcome. No matter what's happening around you, no matter how difficult it gets, you will not always be the fastest. You will not always be the smartest. But you can always be the one who refuses to stop. That choice is always yours. To rise, to keep walking through the storm, to fight, even when it hurts, even when no one's watching, even when it feels like everything's against you. Your future self is counting on you to keep going. That version of you, the one who made it, who broke through, who changed everything. They only exist because you didn't quit. When things were messy, when it was hard to breathe, when doubt was loud, you chose to keep showing up. You chose to move forward, inch by inch, breath by breath. And that's what changed everything. This is your moment, right now. Not when things feel better, not when life gets easier. This is where the shift begins. One decision, One step, one hard action that you take, even though it hurts, because pain is temporary. But quitting, that lasts. That becomes regret. And you don't have time for regret. You've got work to do. You've got lives to impact. You've got a legacy to build. So if it feels awful right now, good. That means you're in the fire. That means the old you is burning away. That means transformation is near. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Walk into it. Let it mold you. Let it refine you. You are being shaped into someone stronger, wiser, more unshakable than you were yesterday. You don't need perfect days. You need discipline. You need heart. You need a commitment that doesn't depend on comfort. That's how you become unbreakable. That's how you rise when others fall. That's how you look back years from now and say, that moment didn't break me. It made me. So push. Push when it's hard. Push when it's ugly. Push when you feel like collapsing. Because every step forward in pain is a step toward greatness. And the world doesn't need another person who quit. The world needs the strongest version of you. And that version is forged in discomfort. Now take a deep breath. Stand up and move. One action, one step, one choice. Your future is waiting. And it's begging you not to give up now. Keep going. Keep pushing. You're almost there.